Hey everyone, welcome back to Gold Rush Reporter, where we dig deep into the world of gold and silver, from real market analysis to stories that reveal how precious metals are viewed around the world. I'm your host, your silver analyst, and today we're taking a trip far from home, all the way to Australia, where silver stacking has a story of its own. Now here's a question for you. What happens when someone from the US brings their American silver eagles or gold eagles across the ocean to Australia? Can they sell them easily? Do dealers even buy that kind of bullion? Stick around, because what I discovered on this journey might surprise you. And it'll show you just how truly global silver and gold really are. I recently traveled to the stunning city of Perth, Australia, home to the world-famous Perth Mint, one of the most respected names in precious metals. While exploring the city's beaches, wildlife, and local markets, I stumbled across a small coin shop that offered something I didn't expect: a unique Australian perspective on silver and gold stacking. Imagine walking into a shop thousands of miles from home and seeing coins that tell the history of a completely different nation. That's exactly what happened when I met Andrew, the owner of Sterling and Currency in Fremantle. He welcomed me in, and right away I noticed something special. Trays full of Australian junk silver, old coins dating back over a century. Andrew explained that this junk silver started around 1910 and ran through 1945, and those early coins were 92.5% silver, what collectors call sterling silver. After World War II, the Australian government recalled those coins, melted them down, and reminted them using just 50% silver. From 1946 to 1964, that was the standard. Then, by 1966, Australia officially switched to its decimal currency system, introducing new coins, including the 50-cent pieces that were 80% silver. To put that in perspective, Andrew told me there are about 75 of those half dollars in a kilogram. They're 80% pure. That's their version of what Americans know as the JFK half dollar, the last US coin with real silver content. So right off the bat, we were diving into a century of silver history. A reminder that no matter where you go, people have always valued real metal. Then, as we got deeper into conversation, I asked him a question many of you often ask me. In America, people worry about using silver for barter if the economy ever collapses. Do people in Australia think the same way? His answer was both practical and fascinating, something every silver stacker should hear. Andrew's answer to that question really summed up how silver is viewed by Australians who stack it for security. He said that while gold is considered the ultimate store of value, silver plays a far more practical role when it comes to everyday survival or barter. Think of it this way. If 1/20th of an ounce of gold costs hundreds of dollars, that's too valuable for small daily transactions. But silver? That's the metal people turn to when they want to hold something real that can still be used for trade if things ever go south. He explained that most of their customers buy silver by the kilogram, not by individual coins, and they like to have a mix of denominations, smaller and larger pieces, so that if there's ever a real financial crisis or end-of-the-world situation, they have options. He laughed as he said, "At least they'll have something they can use to buy food." It was one of those statements that might sound funny at first, but the truth behind it is exactly why so many people turn to precious metals in uncertain times. I then asked him whether they were seeing more people buying or selling these days, especially with everything happening in the world economy. Without hesitation, Andrew said that demand is strong. People are buying. They haven't yet seen the big wave of old collectors coming in to sell their metals, but they expect that could happen later. For now, buyers are outnumbering sellers, and dealers like him are eager to restock. He smiled and said, "We've got money ready to spend." It made me curious about how silver and gold prices compare in Australian dollars. As of that day, silver was trading around 80 Australian dollars per ounce. It had touched 82 earlier that same morning. Gold was sitting at a massive 6,424 Australian dollars per ounce. Those are big numbers, but they make sense when you consider the currency difference and the global trends pushing both metals higher. When I asked if these were record highs, Andrew confirmed that yes, these were among the highest prices they'd ever seen. And what was more interesting is that the momentum wasn't slowing down. Even though there were brief pauses, silver and gold prices kept surging, week after week. He mentioned there had been a bit of resistance in the market recently, but Australia had pushed right through those levels again in just a few days. Before we moved on, I had to ask about taxes. In Europe, buyers have to deal with VAT, value added tax, when they purchase silver, which often makes it more expensive. So I wanted to know, does Australia have something similar? Andrew explained that Australia has a goods and services tax, or GST, but it doesn't apply to pure bullion grade coins and bars. That means if you're buying 99.9% pure silver or 99.99% pure gold, it's completely tax-free. That's a big advantage for Australian stackers compared to those in Europe. As our talk continued, Andrew began showing me which types of silver and gold coins were most popular with his customers. And that's when things got even more interesting. When Andrew started showing me the types of coins Australians prefer, I noticed something fascinating. Their tastes are quite different from what we usually see in the United States. While American stackers love their silver eagles, maples, and generic rounds, Australian buyers tend to prefer coins that carry a bit more character, often with a story or national symbol behind them. He pulled out a few examples from the display case: Perth Mint kangaroos, kookaburras, and koalas. Each of these coins is beautifully designed, and they all carry Australia's unique identity. Andrew explained that these coins aren't just bullion. They often appeal to both investors and collectors. Many people buy them for stacking, while others collect the yearly designs because they change annually, giving them a bit of numismatic appeal. But he also made an interesting point. When it comes to actual trade-ins or liquidating silver, these coins are still valued by their silver content. No matter how fancy the design, in the end, what matters is purity and weight. That's something universal. Whether you're in Perth, New York, or London, silver is silver. We also talked about what happens when foreign coins show up at his shop. I asked him if he ever sees American silver eagles or Canadian maples come through. He nodded and said, "Oh yes, quite often." What surprised me, though, was how easy it was for him to buy and sell them. There's no problem at all dealing in foreign silver coins. The market is global, and as long as the coins are genuine and pure, they're accepted anywhere. That made me realize something important for all stackers watching this. Silver truly is a global currency. You can take a coin from one country to another, and its value is recognized instantly. Sure, the premiums and preferences may vary, but the metal itself speaks a universal language. As we kept talking, Andrew shared that the Perth Mint coins have one special advantage. They're produced right there in Australia, which means lower premiums for locals. Importing coins from other countries can add extra costs due to shipping, customs, or dealer markups. So, while US stackers might get their eagles at a better price, Australians enjoy the same advantage with their own national mint products. He also mentioned that when people sell, Perth Mint coins tend to move faster. Buyers trust them more, and they're seen as the standard in the local market. similar to how US investors view the American silver eagle. I found that fascinating. Because even though we're talking about different mints, currencies, and cultures, the psychology of stacking is exactly the same everywhere. People want authenticity, liquidity, and trust. Whether you're stacking silver in Texas or Tasmania, those three factors decide what you buy. Before I left, I asked Andrew one last question. With prices near record highs, did he think now was a good time to buy silver or to wait for a pullback? His answer was clear and realistic. Andrew leaned back in his chair, smiled, and said something that stuck with me. If you're waiting for the perfect time to buy silver, you'll probably never buy it. He explained that silver has always been volatile. Prices go up, prices go down. But over the long term, the real value of silver isn't just in its price, it's in its purchasing power. It's about having a tangible asset that can't be printed, inflated, or erased by a banking system error. He went on to explain that most of his regular customers don't even try to time the market anymore. They just keep stacking slowly, consistently, month after month. Whether the price is up or down, they buy what they can afford. And that steady approach, he said, has proven to be the smartest strategy over the years. It removes emotion from the equation, no panic selling, no FOMO buying, just steady accumulation of something real. That mindset resonated deeply with me because it mirrors what many successful investors in the US also believe. Silver isn't a get-rich-quick metal. It's a stay-rich metal. It's insurance against uncertainty. And in today's world, with governments printing money at record speed and debt levels soaring, holding something that doesn't depend on political promises just makes sense. Andrew also shared that some people come into the shop not because they're preparing for an economic collapse, but simply because they want to diversify. He said, they have real estate, stocks, and superannuation funds, but they also want to hold something they can actually touch, something that isn't digital or controlled by anyone else. That simple reason, control and independence, is what drives a lot of silver stacking today. I asked him about storage too. He said many Australians keep their metals at home, but the Perth Mint offers one of the safest storage programs in the world, backed by the government of Western Australia. That gives people extra peace of mind, especially for those who stack large quantities or live in smaller homes. It's a good reminder that storage is just as important as buying. Protecting your investment means thinking ahead. Before wrapping up our conversation, we talked about the future. I asked what he thought silver might look like in 5 or 10 years. His answer wasn't about price predictions, it was about purpose. He said, silver will always have a role. Whether it's in electronics, solar panels, or simply as a hedge against inflation, there will always be a reason to own it. The world is changing fast, but real metal never loses its place. Hearing that from someone who's been in the business for decades, dealing with thousands of stackers, collectors, and investors, really put things into perspective. It reminded me that the silver story isn't about chasing highs or panicking during dips. It's about understanding the timeless value of something real and tangible. A piece of metal that's been trusted for centuries and will likely be trusted for centuries more. As I thanked Andrew and prepared to leave, I couldn't help but feel a renewed respect for the global silver community. How connected we all are by this shared belief in real money. As I stepped out of Andrew's shop and into the warm Australian sun, I couldn't help but reflect on what I just experienced. Half a world away from home, I found the same passion, the same beliefs, and the same mindset that so many of us share. A deep trust in real money, in silver and gold. Whether you're in Perth, New York, London, or Karachi, stackers everywhere are driven by the same simple truth. Fiat currencies come and go, but real metals endure. Talking to Andrew reminded me that silver isn't just about charts, spot prices, or market speculation. It's about peace of mind. It's about taking control of your own future. He told me, the moment you hold a silver coin in your hand, you realize this is value that can't vanish overnight. And he's absolutely right. Every coin, every bar, every ounce represents independence and trust in something real. The most powerful thing I took away from this trip is that silver stacking isn't bound by borders. It's a global movement built on awareness. People everywhere are waking up to the same realization. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Governments may change, markets may crash, but your stack is yours. And that sense of security, that's priceless. So, whether you're just starting your journey or you've been stacking for years, remember this. The real win isn't about timing the market. It's about time in the market, holding, learning, and preparing. Because at the end of the day, the stack you build is more than metal. It's your financial armor in an uncertain world. If this story from Australia gave you some perspective or motivation for your own stacking journey, make sure to hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to know how silver stacking looks where you are in the world. Do you see similar trends in your country, or are things different where you live? Let's get a discussion going. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Gold Rush Reporter, where we dig deep into the global stories behind silver and gold, breaking down the facts so you can make smarter decisions as a precious metals investor. Until next time, keep stacking smart, stay alert, and remember, real wealth doesn't just shine, it endures. This is Gold Rush Reporter signing off. See you in the next video.